Hello, everyone. Greetings from SIAS. We're starting a series of dialogues with prominent people on investing in Singapore. The topic today, mistakes to avoid when investing. And to tell us more is Mr. David Gerald, founder, president, and CEO of SIAS. David, welcome. Now,
Morning.
you've headed SIAS for more than 20 years now, going back to the dark days of the club crisis in 1999. Over the years, as you met with so many investors, what are some of the mistakes that they typically make?
Well, let's talk about that group that makes the mistakes all the time. Let me just begin with an example of how a lady who had been teaching all her life, and she had $560,000 when she retired. Just within a week of retirement, she invested that in Lehman bonds, mini bonds, because she went for a dance, for a social, and she met a RM there, and she was convinced that she would be getting 6%, and RM was right, but she had no clue about investing. All that she was told was you will get 6%, and she invested, and she came running to see us when many bonds collapsed 6 months later. Now, this poor lady didn't attend investor education. She didn't know anything about investment. They relied on a young man who was, at that time, he introduced the investment, was probably right, but he didn't understand the risks. So typically, people then and now still invest without knowledge, still invest without knowing the risks. All that they are interested is returns. How much will I get? That is the first mistake they make. All right. We all want to make money. We all want to become rich. We all want to be comfortable. That's nothing wrong with that. And that's how life is. I mean, especially in Singapore, things are very expensive, like Hong Kong. We all want to make quick money, and we jump into investing. So the first mistake they make is they jump into investing without knowing the investment, without knowing how they can lose the money. They only want to know how they can make quick money. So
Indeed.
that's
So when you have many issues there, David, when you talk about how they want to make quick money, how they
yeah,
jump in without actually knowing all those things about their investment
yeah.
assets or prospects, when you sort of talk to these investors and counsel them, what exactly stands out in your mind?
Well, what stands out in the mind is the question that keeps coming from them. So please tell us how we can make money still. So it takes, it's like, extracting the molars. It's very, very difficult to get them to understand that investing without knowledge is a gamble. All right. Jack made money. Why can't Jill? All right. So they heard the story in a coffee shop. They heard the story somewhere, they read in a Chinese tabloid or English tabloid that so and so made enormous amount of money. And the rumor is right. We can go into the market now and be sure we will make money. So asking the basic questions: why do I want to invest? What is my objective? How long will it take for me to make this money? Where do I put my money? And what is it on which I'm putting the money? All right. What are the risks involved in this? So the risk factor is never considered. Features, risks. So it's all about how much can I make. So I must confess that over the years, through investor education initiatives by SIAS, by Money Sense, and all the other industry partners, we have managed to inculcate a number of them the need to have knowledge. But there are three types of investors in my experience now. You have the ones who invest themselves, who are quite capable of understanding the risks, and they know their risk appetite. They know where to put the money and how much to put the money and how long to stay and how to make it. And these are the savvy investors. Then you have in between those who have the money but no time, but they know exactly what they want. So they entrust a fund manager or a financial advisor to take care of their money. Then in the main, at large, we have the retail investors, like in High Flux. and Lehman bonds. These are people who do things by emotions, who do not understand what perpetual instrument is. They just thought that it is giving us so much returns, so we will put the money, and then they get the root shock, and it's continuing. And these are the people who are at the doorsteps, at our doorsteps, asking for help still. I think the longer they dwell on how much to make and not what can go wrong, they will keep coming to us. And it's a pity.
So clearly, the third type of investor that you described, those who want to do something but don't know really how to do this. So, in your view, then what is the best kind of help that can be given to this group of investors who arguably are the ones that you need to help the most?
Okay. So SIAS is now planning uh, to actually give them early warning signals. We're going to tell them in the short, in about 2 to 3 months' time, we'll start this project where we will warn the market on investments where the downside is. All right, don't just look at the upside. This is the upside, but there are early warning signals. Like if you're investing in a company, how much has the company borrowed? How much is it geared? What is its core business, and where is it going now? All right, what are the danger signs? All right, we're not going to discourage people, but we're going to also ask the company or the investment owners to also comment what they're going to do about our comments. That's one thing we're going to do. We're going to step up investor education much more than what we did before. How much we have done is 4,000 over programs, but I think we need to use the mass media. We're going to use the technology platforms to bring our message across to the general public, the man on the street, to say, hey, stop losing money, stop being silly investors. About time you become smart investors.
Now, clearly, the profile of investors have also changed. We got people who are coming in much younger now. So, for those who are starting out, what advice would you give to the young investors, say the university students, the polytechnic students, those who are just starting their investment journey?
Yes. Again, there is an impression amongst the young people that they can make money in a hurry. Quite understandably, they all want to get into condominiums. They all want to get into big cars, Melvin. They do want to do well, but some of them are in a hurry. So my advice to them is go for investor education, concentrate on knowledge. There's plenty of time for you. You're young. There's a lot of time for you to amass your wealth little by little, carefully, and don't put all your money in one basket. Diversify your investments. All right. Learn how to build a portfolio. SIS has got investment chapters. We've got interpretation annual reports. We've got market analysis. We have stock picks. We have REITs and ETFs and bonds. We have so many investment classes that they can attempt. I had a visitation from a young doctor who was a gold class winner. I mean, she was a top student and she won gold. And she came to us to see me. She came to SIAS. I want to see David Gerald. And when I met her, she said, David, can you tell me how I should start investing? I've got money. My dad has given me a lot of money. And I need to now start my retirement plan. First thing she needed was to go and attend financial planning class. She needed to know all about investments. And she did the right thing. She came to us, how do I start investing? I was so thrilled. And this story I tell others. And then I had a 84-year-old man who was brought to my office. He was at the walking stick. And he came very slowly to my office and insisted on seeing me without appointment. And he gave me a check for $1,000. And I said, what is this about? He said, because I attended your investment lectures, I made money. And I think it's only fair I give SIAS $1,000. It made me very happy. And if only everyone can do that, not give me money, but, come and learn, come and listen to experts. read about the investment. No, when we buy a car, we check it out very carefully. We go for a ride, we look at the engine, we look at the chassis, we look at the interior, we feel it, we drive it, and then we buy it. We look at what the people say about this car. We buy a refrigerator, the same thing. But when we buy a stock, it seems that it's much faster than selecting your wife.
Well, clearly, in making those selections,
Yeah.
it's of course important to, choose what you can invest in and the risk you can take. But by the same token, SIAS has also, over the years, taken a rather unique approach to championing the retail investor. You do have a slogan for that: in the
Yeah.
boardroom, not in a courtroom. This is the approach you've taken over the years to try to mediate any concerns, any issues that may develop. So, in your view, as you advise the investor, how would you assess the success of this approach?
This approach has given us tremendous success. Now, in Latin there is a saying, "Res ipsa loquitur," the thing speaks for itself. They come to us now, companies, boards, senior managers, rather than we calling them. Even before the shareholders knock at our doors, the companies are knocking at our doors saying, "We're going to do this. Can you please do?" SIA is a good example. They want to come out with the rights issue. They contacted us and wanted us to be involved. And they explained the rights issue to us. And then we had a Q&A with the CEO. All right, we asked questions, in-depth questions. Unfortunately, we can't have physical meetings, but we did, a Zoom meeting, so interview on the radio, telephone. So they are coming to us, and we must remember the tyranny of the majority is against us. If you challenge them, the majority vote will go against us invariably. And those who go to AGMs and challenge the chairman and board will know they walk out empty pocket. But we have got so much to talk about how much we've got for shareholders in the boardroom by shaking hands, sipping tea, explaining our aspirations and understanding the difficulties of the company and coming to a settlement. And I think that is far better than challenging a company, opening the papers and at the AGM, ridiculing the chairman. You get nothing. All right, he just says your point is noted. Thank you. And the thing moves on and status quo, you leave the room status quo. So we didn't want that from the start. We wanted to make a difference, and Melvin, we have made a difference. And it is documented and well known in the public that what SIAS has done. And that is the modus operandi I would strongly recommend to my successor.
And indeed, that is very well known in the market, as we all know. And of course, you being an advocate for the retail investor is very, very well documented over the years, David. But on a very personal note, if I may ask you, why do this? Because I know you're legally trained. You had a very lucrative legal career in the past. You gave that up and set up SIAS to champion the rights of the small investor. And respectfully, that's for something arguably that has very little or no money in it.
Melvin, I have had a upbringing when I was a little boy in Sri Lanka. I saw injustice. I saw how the minority was being massacred. All right, it got me immersed in the idea that I should stand up and fight. I was only 12 years old. I couldn't fight bullets and parangs. So we all came to Singapore. So I was in school always fighting for the underdog. If I see a little boy being beaten up, I would gather my brothers and friends and go and beat the fellow up. Why? Because I don't like the underdog. Whether it's a maid or it's a man on the street, a worker is subject to ridicule or subject to unfair treatment, I'm there. All right? But that's my nature. I will stand up for the underdog. All right? To me, I never loved money. I never loved money. My wife will tell you that. I never loved money. I always like helping people. And that's my nature. And I think that's an innate nature in me that makes me do what I did in club. when Mahathir and Zaim did this to us, to 172,000 Singaporeans, and I was outraged and angry when our Prime Minister, whom I respected and revered very much, Goh Chok Tong then, was told, no, we don't want to talk to you. We want to talk to the small investors. So I threw away my barrister's robe and I said, here I come. All right, speak to us. It's not a big thing that I did, but I had to do it for the small investors.
And that's indeed a very heartwarming story, David, and of course we cheer you for that. But nevertheless, you had reportedly said that you're not an active investor. So how does this help or hinder you in the role as an investor champion?
In a way, it helps because I don't get emotionally involved in the issues. I'm able to stand aside and see how the investors, the predicament is, and I then go in to champion them. My life has been a defender, lawyer, a prosecutor, magistrate. So I'm able to see the issues in the proper perspective and then champion their cause in the correct way with decorum, inviting the opposition to sit with me, and then we resolve. So what makes me do is my passion for the small fella.
And David Gerald, the great mitigator in all of this, thank you very much indeed for your insights and stories behind the scenes. And for all of you tuning in, I hope there's something useful you can take away with you. Do remember, as we've been saying throughout this program, investing without knowledge is a gamble. And SIAS has lots of information to help you become a more savvy investor. Do subscribe to the mailing list. You can scan the QR code that's coming up on your screen now, or to check out the website. Now, meantime, stay tuned for more insights to come in the near future. Till next time, thank you very much indeed for watching.